It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Cause that's the bottom line. The Stone Cold said so.
And so, goodbye. And good night. Bang!
Settle! Because I'm better than you, and you know it. Yes, sir! What the Rock is cooking.
Now welcome to Off the Mats with Alex Lowe's and Josh Silverberg.
All right, everybody, you are listening and watching us on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network and our new home, StreamYard. Everybody, welcome to another episode of Off the Mat, the only wrestling show here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network every Saturday at 12 p.m. We only talk wrestling here. Sometimes we get little funny stories in every now and then. Alex likes to talk about his experience at work, but that's all right. I'm Josh Silverberg, your host as always, and joining me, of course, my tag team partner, the man wearing his Hollywood Hogan shirt, and a man who knows wrestling as well as anybody, Mr. Alex Lowe's. What's happening, dude?
Nothing much, Josh. It's been an amazing week again for professional wrestling. We had NXT TakeOver, War Games. We have so much to talk about with so little time. And we have a special guest here coming up on Off the Mat. So stay tuned for that and stick along with us the whole way through the show.
Well, yes, we do have a special guest, but I think somebody's trying to be the second special guest today. If you could see on my end, you could see Sammy's trying to sneak in. If you could see him. He's trying to sneak it on the camera, Alex. He wants it on the show. He wants to talk about AEW this week because he watches it with me every Wednesday. So he wants to give his opinion, right? You say, yeah, I know your favorite wrestler is. Oh, don't say that one. It's not. Don't say Natalia because she likes cats. That's terrible. Get away from me. Also, I love the Hollywood Hogan shirt. I went an interesting route this week, Alex.
Lance
Archer. I went a little Lance Archer this week. But so a couple of new things. We're now on StreamYard, which is phenomenal. I think it's great. Also, the cool thing is I'm now in my new setup down here, so you're not just going to see blank walls anymore. You're now going to actually see pictures and posters and items and stuff like that. Also, really quick, I know he's not listening, but I want to give a shout-out to my little nephew, Madden. It's his first birthday today, unfortunately, because of COVID and everything like that. I was, of course, not able to make his birthday today. With Jersey, they're not allowing people to travel to New Jersey right now with their higher COVID rates right now. So, unfortunately, I was not able to make it, but we're going to see him next weekend. So, shout out to, of course, my nephew, Madden. Happy birthday to him. Like you said, Alex, there's so much to get to. This will also be our last week of doing our This Week in Wrestling History because we're not going to give it away. But Alex and I, especially Alex, has definitely been planning some new segments for us to do in the near future. So, next week, we are going to get that set up. We're going to start that. So, this will be the last week. We're still going to do our finishing move. Still going to do that. That's never going away. I think you would agree, Alex. That's been a hit for sure.
Yeah, it definitely has.
But let's get to our stuff that we need to get to, and that, of course, is how you can listen to us. If you don't have our app at this point, you're a fool. There you go. I said it. You're a fool then if you don't have our app because our app is free. Okay,
yep, absolutely free. You can download it, listen to all the shows on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's everything, and the cool thing is whether you have an Android, you could type in Worldwide Sports Radio on the Google Play Store. If you have an app, if you have an iPhone, you could go to the Apple Store and you could type in WWSRN. So you could do that. Type that in. It is free, and just download. You could read our articles. Did you see the article I wrote this week, Alex?
Oh no, I haven't seen it.
I wrote an article about Sting in AEW this week, so you want to check that out. I wrote that the other day. It was really good. So that article is up and running. You can check out articles, our show schedules. You can check out clips from the shows. If you missed our shows, you can rewatch it. We have great programs from Weapons Hot New York Jets podcast to the Ryan Hickey Show, Below the Mic. But I'm trying to think what else is there. Wise Guys, the BS Sports Show, the Betting Show. Belly Up Sports has been partnering up with us now, so we're doing different shows like that. Then of course, don't forget the Weekend Crunch with myself and Errol Marks, Saturdays on 103.9 FM. You can check that out from 7 to 9 p.m. every Saturday on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Oh, I love that. Look at that. It has our names there. I love this StreamYard thing, man.
Yeah, I love it.
I love it. It's great.
It is great.
You can now see Alex's surroundings behind him. You know what I mean? What he's in. He's in his dad's office, so you can see it now. But that's it. You can check out. You can have your smart speaker. Tell them to play. You could say, Alexa, play the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. She's upstairs. I'm downstairs, so she's not going to hear me. Check us out: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're figuring out things with Periscope right now, so we're working towards that. We're going to fix that up by Monday. So we're not on Periscope right now, but we're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all over the place. Alex, how can the fans reach out to us and be a part of the show as well, especially now with it being much easier on StreamYard? So
the fans can follow us on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at ShowSlows, Josh Silverberg at Josh Silverberg on Twitter. And you can also follow our Facebook page Off the Mat WWSRN. Same for our Twitter for Off the Mat. And you can follow the Worldwide Sports Radio Network at WWSRN_radio. Absolutely. And like you said, we have a very, very good show today. We have a special guest coming on at 12:35. But let's get into it, Alex, and let's start with AEW this week, man. And, they almost hit a mill in viewership. You knew that was going to – I knew this was going to be the biggest viewership this week because of Sting alone. Sting was going to bring that viewership. Yeah, he definitely was. With Sting appearing and talking to Cody on the show and having that whole segment with Tony Schiavone, that really had to boost the ratings there for AEW. Oh, absolutely. That definitely did it. But they also beat the demographic that they were lagging in the last few months with NXT. And, it's unfortunate because NXT had a pretty nice show. It seems like Finn Balor is healthy, but we'll get to NXT in a couple of minutes because there was a big return that we need to discuss in the next few minutes. And, of course, we're going to recap War Games and everything like that. But I thought the AEW show alone, it wasn't just the Sting return that really was great. It was a couple of things that, but we do have to talk about the promo with Don Callis and Kenny Omega, the interview on Impact with Josh Matthews. I thought it was okay. I really didn't think that they had to do that whole promo with Josh Matthews crossing over to Impact. I didn't think it was necessary, but it does open the doors to Kenny Omega going to different promotions like MLW. Well, he's allowed to contractually, Alex. He's allowed to. He has a contract in New Japan that he could do some New Japan shows if he wants to. John Moxley and FTR have the same contract obligations that if they want to, they could cross-promote. But the thing was, Alex, like you said, it was the same exact – I loved – first of all, the promo was phenomenal. Yeah, the promo Don Callis was great, and Omega as a heel fits perfectly. But it was the same promo Wednesday as it was Tuesday. Yeah, it was kind of like the same thing, the same kind of thing they said on AEW Dynamite last Wednesday. And when you look at the feats that Kenny Omega has accomplished and done in his career, it says a lot about why he's one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. And Kenny said he wants to add more to his championship arsenal, and that's collect and win just about any championship in any promotion out there. So I love where AEW is going with this idea because it allows AEW to cross boundaries and do something that hasn't been done yet. And I think it's a very smart idea. As for the interview goes, it was okay. But I did love seeing Kenny end with his quote, the usual quote that we have at the beginning of our show. Goodbye and good night. Yeah. Yes. It had been a while since he did that. No, I thought the interview was great, Alex. I agree with you. I thought it was done very well. I think he's a natural heel. I think Don Callis fits him perfectly as his manager, whatever you want to call him, his representative. I don't know what he is.
But like I said before, it was the exact same interview Wednesday as it was Tuesday, and I was just like, okay, well, there was
nothing. The one thing I never knew about Don Callis is that he was there the whole time of Kenny Omega.
In New Japan,
nobody knew.
Yeah, he announced his matches in New Japan when Kenny was there. I didn't know that he was with them as a young kid. That part I did not know. But the thing that I think. You could kind of see that how natural Don Callis is. You know
he fits in perfectly with Kenny Omega.
Exactly.
It feels right with him being behind Kenny Omega and being the person guiding him.
Absolutely, and I think it works. I'm like a mess right now with these headphones. It fits in perfectly when it comes to the way that the way Kenny's character is becoming. Look, he's becoming a heel. And that's really what it is. Now, I did also like the opening match between the Hybrid 2 and the Young Bucks. But the thing is, it's just, because I'm going to go over when we go over NXT in a few minutes, because I have a friend of mine who basically said that the NXT Championship has been irrelevant for the last few months. And I'm going to explain as to why that is a terrible take. But I'll explain it when we do our NXT recap in a couple minutes, because in my opinion, it's a god-awful take. And we'll go over it, but the match was good between the Hybrid 2 and the Young Bucks.
Oh yeah, it was
and Helico is going to get a match, and Helico
a singles
match next week
against Cody.
Yeah, so they're, we were looking for months as to where have they been, what are they doing, why aren't they on? Well, now they're on the last few weeks. What's your thoughts? What were your thoughts on the opening match between the Young Bucks and Hybrid 2?
I thought the match was amazing. I love how the Young Bucks did not allow TH2 to create any separation, and they stayed on the attack throughout the whole match. And TH2 had some incredible moves in this match against the Young Bucks, and stuff I've never seen them do before, like new moves that they incorporated into their arsenal, into their moveset. And they are a very creative team, and they're very underlooked in AEW, and I think they should be given more match opportunities.
They're athletic. They're athletic.
Very athletic. They're really well trained. They can just about match up with the Young Bucks pretty close.
It is, and you see similarities. There's a couple of teams that are like that with the Young Bucks. That it seems like that's the route they go. It was also nice to see the FTR. It was also nice to see FTR back. It looks like they're going to have a little rivalry with Jurassic Express. That's what it looks like.
I do want to mention the Sting and Cody Rhodes promo.
Oh yeah, go.
The interaction between Tony and Sting, I thought that was really cool at the beginning, because those two men have known each other for years, and just to see the respect they have for one another was awesome. And Cody said he's been waiting to share a ring with Sting for a long time. And Sting just kind of looked at Cody, glanced at him, and said he's not here for Cody, which is very interesting, because
this
could go any way. This could go any route. And Sting showed up to assist and help Cody when he was being attacked by Team Taz. But what Sting says, what he does is his business, and he plans to stick around in AEW for a while and really connect with the fans and really build a reputation in AEW for the next 5 years that he's signed on.
I know who he's here for. He even pointed at it when he said something looks really, really, really familiar. And he pointed right at the TNT champion, Darby Allin. And that is exactly who I think he is here for. I think he's going to manage him. I think he's going to be the guy. I think Sting is going to be in some tag team matches with Cody and Darby in the beginning. I think Sting and Darby are going to form a team together.
I would actually like that. I would love to see
it. I would be ecstatic about it, because Sting is my all-time favorite and Darby is my current favorite. So for me, it would be a cross kind of a thing of excitement. Look at what Darby's done. He has the black and white face paint.
Mm-hmm.
He sits up in the rafters, watches the shows. Sting did that in WCW. And that's why Sting pointed right at Darby Allin and said something looks really familiar. And I said, instantly, boom, there it is. I said that is exactly who he is here for. That is exactly what he wants to do. And to me, I thought it fit perfect. I think it fits perfectly. I think, like I said, they're going to have Sting do some tag team matches with Cody and Darby. I think against Team Taz. That's what I think they'll start with.
You know what would really make sense is if they set it up this way: if AEW and Darby team with Cody, and then have Sting turn heel on Cody right behind.
No,
that would be a smart idea.
No.
I would love that.
I hate that. Sting cannot be heel. Sting is a natural babyface. They tried doing heel with him in WCW in 1999 against Hulk Hogan, and the fans still cheered for him, including me. Sting is not a heel. He never can be a heel. To me, I understand you want to make an impact, no pun intended. You want to do a little swerve. But to me, Sting, I think Sting and Darby together are perfect. You don't need them to be. You don't need them to be a heel. They're fine.
It definitely makes sense to have them team together.
Yes, absolutely. Because Sting doesn't have a hero himself.
I really think it would be cool to just have them in a storyline with Cody. And you're right. He would be better off a babyface, just like he was in the early 90s. The early 90s of WCW when he showed up.
They tried doing a heel, Alex. They tried doing a heel at the end of 99 against Hulk Hogan. It did not work. The fans were cheering more for Sting than they were for Hulk Hogan. They still were cheering for it. Didn't make any sense. It was wonky. It was out of place. It didn't do anything for anybody. Even I was still cheering for him, even when he was a heel. I'm like, okay. I'm actually thrilled he hit Hulk Hogan with a baseball bat because I'm not a Hulk Hogan fan at all. No offense, Alex, but I'm not. You can listen to the Weekend Crunch, and Arrow and I could go back and forth on why I'm not a Hulk Hogan guy. And Arrow flipped out that I said that. And I said to Arrow, relax, man. I said, take it easy.
You know what was really interesting is that Sting didn't give us an answer right away. He just left a cliffhanger. But instead of
he
left suspense at the end of that promo about his agenda, and I can't wait to see where it leads to. And I think it's going to lead to something very great.
I'm ecstatic about it. I'm happy he's here. I'm not here to bash to be brash about myself. Read my article, Alex. You'll like the article when you check it out. Read about it. It explains to you why this partnership is going to work between Sting and AEW.
Then we saw Dustin Rhodes versus 10 of the Dark Order.
Yeah, that was stupid. Whatever.
At the end of the match, they kind of did a segment where Evil Uno was asking Dustin Rhodes to join the Dark Order as 7. And I saw a little pitch of that on Twitter where he was on. Remember when he was on WCW?
He was on WCW. He was 7 for a day, and he basically crapped all over it. And they just abandoned it after one show together.
Yeah, I saw an image of that on Twitter because one of the Dark Order members posted a picture of that on Twitter. So they really want to have Dustin Rhodes.
Hangman's the interesting
in the Dark
one,
Order.
Hangman is the interesting one because they're going to have Alex Reynolds and John Silver team with him next week. So that seems to be the guy they're going after is Hangman, Adam Page.
Yeah, and they might be leaning towards Adam Page too. But what really made sense was at the end of that, the whole thing, the turn of events that Dustin, it was just very interesting because Evil Uno said that once he sees the light, he will understand what he'll understand the whole situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he basically called he basically said to Dustin Rhodes that he's like a third wheel of the Cody Rhodes family.
Yeah, I mean, look, that could be the case. But what were your thoughts on the two more things before we get to AEW? Then we got to go to break because we have our guest coming on at 12:35.
And then we had the Chris Jericho's ultimatum.
I was going to actually, I forgot about that one. That's 3 things. So what were your thoughts on the Jericho thing, and of course on MJF winning the Dynamite Diamond again over Orange Cassidy?
So I thought it was really cool. I loved the promo at the beginning where they were all just trying to get on the same page. What really made me laugh was the argument between
Wardlow and Jake Hager.
Yeah, that just made me laugh.
Funny. I cracked up hysterically.
It's so great.
I love Wardlow's reaction. It was so funny. And Jake Hager was like, I could stop staring right now.
And MJF, like we heard last week, he tried throwing in the towel, and Cody, Chris saw he saw him do it. Like he knew that, MJF was trying to throw in the
Yeah,
towel.
exactly.
And then MJF explained that he would never betray them or stab the Inner Circle in the back.
Yeah, I don't buy that, but okay.
You could see Sammy was not having any of it. Sammy was just livid.
Yeah, I know.
He was not on the same page with MJF there. And I feel like MJF next week, I feel like something else is going to happen with.
Yeah, you never know. So there's going
to.
It's like peeling elements, as they say, right, Alex? That's what it is. And so
exactly what it is.
Really quick, I want to get to the main event really quick before we go to NXT, because I have some things I want to say about NXT. Abaddon stuff. What do you like it? Are you not with it? Do you find it confusing?
I find it a bit confusing because they didn't really pitch much. They didn't pitch much of.
They don't build anything. They don't build.
Yeah, they really don't build this up very. They didn't build it up very much.
The women's division to me is always winged in AEW. You know what I mean? They just wing it. They're always like, all right, we're going to do it this way.
Yeah, I don't really agree with that. I feel like they could have just added a promo.
Because you like Abaddon too. You like her.
Yeah, I love Abaddon. I think she's very talented. I think there's a lot she can do in AEW, and I like how they're putting her into the championship focus, into the championship picture. But I think they just needed to add some promos and segments to make this understandable and interesting for the fans.
No, I agree with you. And, the whole thing that's interesting with the really quick, let's look into the main event. What were your thoughts? Now the thing is, really quick, Alex, I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to state this. Pentagon is actually injured. He didn't get injured from the match. He has a knee issue that they tried to hold off on him having to be out for a long period of time. And what happened is they wanted to put on something to make him seem to be injured. So it seems like he's going to be out, but I'm sure Pac will probably take his spot.
Yeah, I was actually.
I like the Lance Archer stuff, though.
I do. I was going to ask you about Lance Archer. What do you think about Lance Archer being put with Penta El Zero, M, and Rey Fenix and Pac? What do you think about him?
I'm intrigued by it. You know what? To me, Archer is not. Do you ever see the show Shot of Brandy? What Brandy wrote? She does her show about drinking. So,
I never seen that. Is it?
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. So, Lance Archer. I've met Lance Archer before, and
so have I. He's a really nice guy.
He's a nice guy, and he's been on my.
He's really laid back.
He was on my old podcast. So with Archer, I think it's funny when you look at the whole thing. Archer's awesome.
Yeah, he really is.
I love him. He was on my old podcast. And the thing is, I actually told our friend here, Jillian Cohen, here at the Worldwide Sports Area Network, to reach out to him because he'll get back to you in a second. You ask him something. So I definitely want to get him on the show here eventually.
Yeah, I would love to have him.
I love the fact that he is joining Death Triangle, if that's what he's doing. So look,
it just makes sense because he's such a powerhouse athlete based on his size and strength alone. And he can do so much based on his history in New Japan. We've seen him in a lot of physical, intense matches, including ones against Jon Moxley, ones against sometimes they would have the Suzuki-gun matches where they would have Lance Archer take on Minoru Suzuki, and that was very interesting because it really just shows how much he can really do, how far he's willing to go, and how much experience he has in these matches. So putting him against Eddie Kingston, the Butcher and the Blade, I think it makes sense. I really think this feud is not over between Eddie Kingston and his group. No, it's
definitely not.
Definitely not over.
All right, so go for now.
I cannot wait to see where it goes, but it makes sense because Lance Archer, we saw last week, he does not respect Eddie Kingston. He does not like Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston kind of was egging him on and poking fun of him. And Lance Archer, once you poke the bear with him,
I love Lance Archer.
You're in trouble.
Watch the Shot of Brandy episode. He eats tuna and peanut butter on the show. That's what he eats. So I'll leave it at that. Really quick with NXT because we got to get to break. I just before we get to your thoughts, Alex, you mind if I just make a point really quick about NXT because I feel like I need to defend them quick if that's okay with you.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, so pretty much, what Sam, you want to get on the show too again? This cat, man, you know, pretty much. So when it comes to the thing about NXT that really bothers me, I have a friend of mine who said to me that NXT's World Championship hasn't been involved in months. It's basically a championship that hasn't been used or anything like that. Well, I'm going to explain to you why, because I wrote to him on Twitter and he never responded to me. Usually when they don't respond to you, that means you're correct and they don't want to admit it. There you go. I did it for him. The NXT Championship hasn't been defended in months.
No.
Because, the reason being, well, I'll explain why. Let me explain why first, and then I want to hear your thoughts on my take, Alex, because I am interested to hear your thoughts on it. The reason why is because, okay, Adam Cole had the championship. It was great. The championship was defended really well. It was obviously something that was a big championship in the wrestling industry.
It definitely was.
Keith Lee won the championship. Had a nice little run. You know, it was a nice little run. Karrion Kross won it. What happened to what happened to Karrion Kross? What happened?
He got injured.
Thank you. So that's one. Okay. So they have a tournament. Finn Balor wins the championship. What happened to Finn Balor after he won the championship?
He got injured. He broke his jaw.
Thank you, Alex. You said my point as to why it has not been the known championship on the show for a while because
too many injuries. That's what it's been.
Hurt. You can't. You cannot sit there and this is what it pisses me off when somebody makes you can hear. I'm never mad on the show. Have you ever seen me angry?
No.
I'm so pissed when somebody says something so freaking stupid like this. Oh, well, the championship hasn't had any meaning in months since Adam Cole had the championship. Yeah, you know why, dumbass? Because it's been hurt and injuries to these champions the last 2 times. That's why. You can't sit there and tell me that.
And that's been NXT's problem. There's just been too many injuries.
But it's not NXT's fault.
No, it's not.
And I hate there's no meaning to the championship. Dude, their last 2 champions got injured. What do you want them to do? Yeah, it's out of their hands. Exactly. It's ridiculous.
It's really it's far out of their hands. And that's what happens in wrestling. If people get hurt all the time in matches, like things can go south pretty quick depending on the situation. And how, depending on the match training, because I know wrestlers train before matches a lot. I've seen this when I was at ACW. They train to time out their matches perfectly, but sometimes that could end very badly. You know,
Alex, it's such a bad take. It's a really bad take, and I want to ask our guest this at 12:35 about that take because it really. Look, we've discussed on the show many times. I think NXT needs to have their own night, whether that's Tuesday night or that's Thursday night. I don't think they could stay Wednesday nights anymore.
No, I don't. I think they need to change.
Honestly, I think they should go to Thursday nights. Let NWA have their Tuesday show on YouTube, or actually NWA has their show at 6:00 on YouTube, so they could do that. It's such a horrible take when their last 2 champions have been injured. What the hell do you want NXT to do about that? They can't do anything. And look, and everybody says, oh, this is bad for NXT. They got their ass kicked in the ratings again. I'm going to say, no shit they got their ass kicked in the ratings, Alex, because Sting was on the freaking show. You knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, you knew that was coming because they showed a preview for it last week. They've been hinting about it on Twitter a lot during the week, and it sucks. I know.
Such a bad take.
It's and bad taking.
I feel for NXT. I feel for them because they're getting their ass kicked. And Alex, we've been doing this show for a while. I've never cursed on the air. That's the first time I ever cursed on the air. I'm so pissed about this take because it bothers the crap out of me because I feel bad for NXT because NXT has talent. Freaking Vince McMahon doesn't know how to use Keith Lee, and he sent him that back down to the Performance Center. You schmuck! You idiot! How do you Keith Lee is one of the top wrestlers on the planet, and you don't know how to utilize him? You're an idiot.
To me, it's very disappointing to me because
it's such a mess.
That's the one thing I hate about the Raw and SmackDown, the main roster for WWE.
Oh,
that's
God,
why It's just so bad. Like
horrible,
bad taste.
It's horrible.
It doesn't. You're not allowing you're not allowing the upcoming the roster move. When you do a roster move, you're not allowing the new superstars to grow. You're not allowing them to have their moment, to have their opportunity, and really show that they're like really good athletes.
It's just such a bad. I'm sorry, Alex. I didn't mean to interrupt you at those times. I really, I wanted to get that. It was bothering the crap out of me for the last 48 or 72 hours that take, and it bothered me. And I never get bothered on the show. That really just pissed me off, that take. That is one of the absolute, and I'm not going to say who said it, but it was one of the worst takes I ever heard.
It definitely was. And I saw a lot of people talking about that on Twitter. I saw people saying, NXT's really gone south. So
they've gone south because they're competing with a brand that they just don't, that has an endless payroll.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's
not NXT's fault because it happens a lot in the wrestling business. People get hurt all the time. Accidents happen.
Exactly. So when we come back, we're going to get into our This Week in Wrestling history really quick. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a shorter break than normal, Alex, because we have our special guest coming on at 12:35. Alex is going to introduce our guest because he knows him very well and everything like that. So we're going to get into what he thinks. We're going to get our little update on New Japan. They have the tag league stuff finished. And the stuff is finished. And then we're going to get our finishing move. What was that, Alex?
We didn't do our NXT results.
We did not do our NXT results, so we'll talk to our guest about the NXT results then, and we'll I had to say that take. I'm sorry. I know I took up time there. It was bothering the crap out of me. So you'll probably hate me during the break, so it's okay. This is Off the Mat on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Everybody's got a price. Rest in peace.
Welcome back to Off the Mat with Alex Lowe's and Josh Silverberg.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Off the Mat. We have Phil Stamper already with us, but that's okay. Let's get into our This Week in Wrestling history.
Alex, let's give Phil the proper introduction to the show, man. Let's
welcome Phil to the show. Welcome. Glad to have you on, man. We're glad to have you aboard with us here on Off the Mat on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
I appreciate it.
Phil, how are you and your family doing and everything like that during this whole pandemic and everything?
Things are good. Fortunately, nobody in my immediate family has gotten sick. Some extended family, some cousins and some aunts and uncles, but everybody's hanging in right now. So
love it. That's good news.
My This Week in Wrestling history, it's pretty interesting. We got WWE Armageddon from 2004. The attendance was 5,000. First match was Rey Mysterio and Rob Van Dam defeat Kenzo Suzuki and Rene Dupree for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Number 2 is Kurt Angle defeating Santa Claus. What?
Was it Santa or Santa Claus?
Was it Santa? It was just gonna.
That's like the most bizarre, random thing I've seen on a card in a long time. Number 3 is Daniel Puder defeating Mike Mazanian in a Dixie Dog fight. Number 4 is Danny Basham and Doug Basham, the Basham brothers, defeating Charlie Haas and Hardcore Holly. Number 5 is John Cena defeating Jesus in a street fight for the WWE United States Championship. Number 6 is Dawn Marie defeating Miss Jackie, and the referee was Charlie Haas. Number 7 is The Big Show defeating Kurt Angle, Luther Reigns, and Mark Jindrak in a handicap tag. Number 8 is Funaki defeating Spike Dudley for the WWE Cruiserweight title. And number 9 is JBL defeating Booker T, Eddie Guerrero, and The Undertaker in a fatal 4-way for the WWE Championship. So that's a really interesting card. A little random with the Santa Claus popping up there. But it was an interesting pay-per-view because you got a lot of big names like John Cena, The Big Show, JBL, Rey Mysterio, who's still wrestling to this day, even currently, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So really quick before I'm going to get to Phil, I want to ask about pretty much what you do and everything like that, because I know it says on your Twitter profile, president of wrestling scene on Discovery ID. Tell the fans a little bit about that and what you're doing.
Yeah, tell us about that and what's really behind this. What's the story behind all of that?
Sure. So, my name is Phil Stamper. I wrestled for a number of years. Unfortunately, after a long period of time, I have a hole in my neck.
Oh, jeez.
Can't quite see the scar, but I had ended up having actually the same surgery that Edge did. I had fusion of my C5, C6, C7, had spinal stenosis, so had to cut back being as present in the ring as I was. But because I had also leaned into commentary and was more of a mouthpiece in wrestling, I started to stand up and I legit became the general manager for something like 5 promotions overnight. And so it started to be this thing of like, well, Philip, you're really like running things in the world of wrestling. And my brain went, yeah, it's like I'm the president of wrestling. And so that kind of caught on and people were like, yeah, that really works. So just kept rolling it through. The reference you made to Investigation Discovery and I can't remember what other one you said.
It was, I believe it was it. It was President of Wrestling, seen on Investigation Discovery Wrestling, and then Amazon, Hulu. You could see it all on there and everything like that. So if you want to discuss a little bit about what you do with that and everything.
So I also have some experience with acting. I have I have an IMDb page.
Oh wow,
that's really cool. That's big time when you do that, man.
There you go. Some of it's been extra work, but some of it I've had some feature roles. So it's I've been on 2 Investigation Discovery TV shows, Evil Twins and Who Killed Jane Doe. And I've been in 2 Super Bowl commercials.
I did not know that.
So one was for Pepsi, one was for Bud Light. So it was.
That's good though. That's nothing, cool. It's awesome.
In the Bud Light one, you see like this much of like the back of my head. It's great. Like, but people found me. My sister-in-law found me before I found me.
There you go. So there you go. See, family helps, right? That's always what it comes down to. So I actually wanted to get to, because I've had also really quick. I had neck surgery as well. On my C5, C6, I had a bulging disc in my spinal cord. So for me, you being a wrestler and everything like that, how long did it take for you to get acclimated to realize it, kind of like what Edge, because with Edge, it took him forever to get back to the ring and everything like that. How long did it take you to realize, I don't know if this is going to be like I could do this in the ring anywhere, but I could work outside the ring as much as possible, and that's what I want to do.
So I had, for a number of years sort of leading up to when I had surgery, I had nerve pain all the way down my arm and into my back. And so, and a lot of people will say this when they have surgery, the first thing they feel like when they wake up is, wow, I don't have nerve pain anymore.
Yes.
And
I remember.
Right. And for the most part, that was true for me. What they also didn't know is that I also had shoulder damage. So, there was still some compression on the nerve for a while. But I have some permanent nerve damage in my back and in my arm that flares up now and again. It's not horrible. Like, it's not, before the surgery, the final couple of months before surgery, I couldn't sleep. I felt like my arm was on fire. Like literally feeling that sensation. And so I was sort of winding down physically a little bit before that, because physically my left arm was almost useless. And so when I got the surgery, it was like, okay, I'm going to get better and be so super healthy. And then realized, oh, I can't pick up anything with my left arm at all. And it took almost a year for some of the nerve connections to come back. So, and it's been now 2.5 years since surgery, and I'm just now able to really functionally use my arm and I can carry heavy groceries again and I can pick up boxes. So from the wrestling perspective, because I teach, I do grappling seminars because I have experience with judo and jujitsu. So I'll talk about submission wrestling. And for me, I didn't trust myself in a ring to have a match. Like, here I am, I'm going to pick somebody up and slam them when my left arm is just a post. No, that to me, that's not safe for myself or anybody else in the ring. So, I had to curtail it. And it's like, well, how am I still going to be involved in this sport that I love so much and have been so active in for so long? And so I just transitioned into being more of a mouthpiece. I still get physically involved when it needs to be.
Of course.
But for the most part,
very cautious. You got to be very cautious.
You got to be self-aware.
Yeah. My weirdest, because things happen and, you kind of lose coordination a little bit too after surgery.
Sure.
And so I fell a couple of times, within the few months after surgery. And I remember think it was like 4 months after surgery. I was actually at a wrestling event, and it was an outdoor event. I'm sitting at a picnic table, and somebody sits down next to me, and we're just watching, and about an hour goes by. The entire table flips up and flips me backwards, and I take this solid bump in gravel.
I don't even mean to laugh. That's
no, because in the moment, this is my process. Went, can I move? Okay, I can wiggle my fingers, and a ref who knew me came over and was like, "Oh my God, Phil, are you okay?" Yeah. And I just start laughing. I laughed for probably 5 minutes. Like,
you're probably thinking my luck, right? We'll
right.
Go figure.
So, Phil, I have a quick question for you. So, when training wrestlers, what's the most important thing that they have to learn, they have to go through?
It's a little bit of a mix, right? Because there's that part of you have to learn the aspects of wrestling, like how to wrestle. People who've never had that competitive sport component. Well, okay, then you have to physically learn it. Then you have to be in good enough health to be able to compete. And there's people of all different sizes and shapes who join in professional wrestling. So how do they get to that point where they're going to be sustainable inside of a wrestling ring? But a lot of it, and everybody sort of says the sort of shut up and listen component. And that's so important because, people will of course question, and questioning for clarification is great. Questioning because they don't believe it's a thing, or, well, why should I do this thing? It's like, well, no. And then you start learning all of the aspects of, how's the psychology of wrestling? How do you contact a promoter and present yourself? How do you build a resume for wrestling specifically? Yeah. So there's, how do you cut a promo? Which I also do seminars on too, because now I have this experience speaking on mic.
Exactly. And those are a lot of important things because a lot of wrestlers, they need to know how to do promos, what to say, how to present it, and basically just how to really connect with the crowd and the audience.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and I remember one of the takeaways that I got when they created the WWE Performance Center was that they had a little production studio there, and they had a way that people could film their own promos and bring them in. And I remember hearing that, and I was like, that's so crucial to be able to do. And to see a guy like today, Killer Kross, well, not today, but recently, well, now Karrion Kross. I'm not yet call him Killer Kross.
Can't call him Killer anymore.
Right. So Kross filmed his own, like a promo sort of as a demo, did it himself, gave it to the WWE team, and then they basically refilmed it and just added a little bit of more of like dimension and shadow and light. But it was really the creation that he put together that helped then build what he's doing. And so many guys now who get a lot of the recognition for some of the things they're doing, and some of the guys who are being picked up because they've put together these amazing video packages that tell this dynamic.
Like recently, WWE, I talked about this last week with Josh. They added Alex Zane to the Performance Center.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen his video packages. His are amazing. Like, if you haven't seen those, you have to check it out on his YouTube channel because they're very well done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Phil, I wanted to get your take on this because Alex and I we were talking before. Actually, we're getting to War Games right that we want to get your take on it. But I got to ask you, you see AEW nearly hit the million range in viewership, which, look, we knew was going to happen once you heard.
Yeah, we all knew that.
Once you knew Sting was going to be on the show, you knew that was it. It was over.
Yeah.
Is it time for NXT, in your opinion? Because NXT is still a very good show.
Mm-hmm.
To maybe move to another night, a Tuesday night, a Thursday night, and trying to maybe stop competing with AEW because AEW with Tony Khan has this, I guess, endless page, this check where it's just there's no limit to it. I'll get whatever I need to get done, or should they try to continue with this war that, frankly, and I'll say it, they're getting their ass kicked right now with it.
So what gets complicated with the WWE is that WWE isn't necessarily wrestling on television. It's a television show that sometimes features wrestling. And so in television world, the way, I don't understand this myself because this doesn't compute to me. Television execs sometimes go, well, wait a minute. Because I remember I first learned this when like Smallville was a big hit on television.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes UPN and they're like, we're going to put Star Trek Enterprise against Smallville. And it's like, isn't that the same market? Like the same kind of crowd you want? Yeah. And it's like, well, no, you compete because viewers are active at that time. And if we can take viewers from them, even if it's not going to be the winning viewership, we still get a part of that pie. And so there's that aspect of WWE that is so much based on television production that I don't know if they're going to make that decision or not. It might be a network that says, this is the decision we're making for you. And right now, Thursday nights, unless you're watching something on streaming, doesn't have televised wrestling on it.
Alex, didn't I say that right before Phil came on? I said they should.
Yeah, you definitely did.
NXT.
NXT needs to move to Thursday night because they're better off going that route.
Phil, there's nothing on there because you got Raw Monday and NWA Tuesday, AEW. I mean Impact as well Tuesday, AEW Wednesday, there's up Thursday. Why not? They take it and run with it.
I'm doing
it would also give them more TV time and more time to focus on building the characters that they have on NXT and really just building their promos and going that route and giving the audience a way to connect with NXT better and really see why NXT is a really good brand.
I mean, I do a streaming on my own channels of independent wrestling matches that I get from promoters on Thursday nights at 8 because there's no other wrestling on. So why not?
Exactly. Alex, did you want to ask something?
Yeah. So Phil, I wanted to get your thoughts on the NXT TakeOver main event. It was very well done. I enjoyed the main event, the War Games main event between Undisputed Era and the Brand. What were your thoughts on that match? And can you tell us? Can you break down exactly how they prepared for this match and how much it took for them to get warmed up and be ready and really be in the best shape for a match like this? Because matches like these are very intense, very physical, and literally you're putting your body on the line in every part of every moment in these matches.
The worst I ever felt after a match personally was in a cage match where somebody did a coast to coast to me and I had a chair next to my face inside of a steel cage. And I remember just feeling this whole vibration in my body that just lasted for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And now imagine the dimension of you're just not on a ring. You have the surface of a steel cage that you're hitting up against. There's weapons, there's tables. You have that the dynamic of that space that's between the two rings that I'm so glad people are oh, there's space between the two rings. Let's functionally use it in a War Games match.
Yeah, really, right? Let's use the steel right in between the two and powerbomb somebody on it. That's
exactly.
a great idea.
And I don't know, because I did that once in a War Games match, and I was like, this makes sense. Why are we doing this?
It's and in the women's match too, Phil, they did the same thing. They did.
Yeah. But it's just that, you just go into it, and it's it's going to be brutal. It's going to be hard on your body, but you have to be more brutal to the other person. And when you go into it, it's a fight. It changes the whole dynamic of you're not walking in necessarily to a wrestling match and you're trying to go hold for hold with somebody. You're trying to be punishing. And it's
you're trying to deliver a good performance and really keep the fans on their feet. And for me, the best part of that match was when Undisputed Era they took out the rest of Team McAfee, cornered Pat. And for months, Undisputed Era, for months, they were just trying to get back at Pat McAfee, who was antagonizing Adam Cole and antagonizing Undisputed Era. And one of the things that surprised me in this match was Pat McAfee climbing to the top of the cage and doing a swanton from the top of it. And that really got me in shock because I've never seen you don't think Pat McAfee would be able to do something like that. You think looking at him, he's not capable of doing something that extreme, but it really was a really good way to make the match interesting and really keep people excited about it.
Phil, I got to ask you this question because there was something that. There's another guy that I do a show with, Errol Marks, who runs the station. It's really I'm going to call him out because I know he's listening right now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he is.
He's grinding my gears. We had a debate yesterday on who was the better wrestler, Hulk Hogan or Randy Savage.
Ooh.
He said Hulk Hogan, I said Randy Savage, and I don't think it was close. Hulk Hogan was popular because, one, he kissed Vince McMahon's ass, and two, because Hulk Hogan did his promos that 95% of it you didn't even understand other than the vitamins and the prayers thing. Randy Savage had memorable promos like Cream of the Crop.
Yeah.
That with the creamer. He literally took a coffee little creamer circle and he made a promo out of it. That's genius.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, now please don't make me wrong on this, Phil. Remember, no pressure. Who, in your opinion, was the better wrestler, Hulk Hogan or Randy Savage?
If it's a question of wrestler as in technique, I would say Randy Savage. If it's a wrestler and the aspect of pro wrestling and sort of that, what I talked about, that whole encompassing
yes
being of an entertainer and promo work and all that, it is Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. But was Savage ever allowed to work though? Because Vince used to just give Hulk Hogan everything.
If you watch earlier in his career, yes, absolutely, he was. But you're right. Hogan was the guy. Hogan was the man.
Even John Cena, and that's exactly and that's what it was.
I mean, and I'm going to fast forward like 20 years later, but like when John Cena was first coming up and you kind of just knew he was going to be the guy, and Hulk Hogan was under the mask as Mr. America.
I remember that too.
I wanted, because I think he was Mr. America on SmackDown, but Hulk Hogan on Raw. I wanted him to be the mentor for John Cena, both on camera and like in real life, and be like, okay, brother, this is what you need to do. Because at that time, I remember like John Cena was selling like a 5-year-old child who was beaten. Like it was so over the top. It was like, how is this ever going to be believable? Though John Cena's built like a truck, he looks like he's just been beaten repeatedly, and he doesn't like really come back super strong. That Hulk Hogan had learned that moment. And I was like, he needs to really teach John Cena this at that time. That's sort of my impression that I had of that. And when you listen to some of the stuff about the Monday Night Wars, and even when Hogan first went to TNA for a little bit, the conversation about what he brought in terms of production, like he knew how the WWE put an event together on camera. And so he taught that to WCW, and he taught that to TNA when he went at the time. And so, like, he brought some of those elements of production with him that then boosted those companies. And I think that means a lot on what he brings then as an overall person in the world of professional wrestling. Randy Savage, though, the better wrestler. And I will never take that away from him. And oh my gosh, did he ever have memorable promos?
I have the shirt down here in my basement. WrestleMania 3, Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage.
Right.
I mean, Hulk Hogan, in my opinion, Phil, Hulk Hogan never had, I mean, if you want to say the body slam, it's funny because Andre Hogan is supposed to be that memorable match at Mania, right? Because Hogan did the body slam. But what's the match that everybody really remembers from WrestleMania 3? It's Steamboat. I mean, Savage Steamboat.
Yeah.
So that's to me is that builds up everything right there.
And even though, like, to me, Hogan, great personality in the world of professional wrestling, other than, his personal life choices, which, if you think
we touched
about
on that too yesterday, we touched on that too, Errol and I.
If you think about, though, sort of pop culture influence, and yes, Hogan connected like the world of rock because he had been a Hollywood personality and was able to help build some of those bridges. But then if you get into like what happened next, like, okay, tell me one commercial Hulk Hogan was in that you can immediately think of off the top of your head. And then can you think of Snap Into a Slim Jim with Randy
Exactly.
Savage?
That's exactly it.
Like, as I said that, because I was really sitting here going, like, I can't think of one with Hulk Hogan.
What was it that Hogan was in, Phil? He was in the Brawler, the Bash and Brawler action figure things that he did. And then other than that, I mean, I don't really know any other.
Rocky 3.
It was in the movie. But,
Yeah.
But wait, hold up. Savage was in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So, so I could turn that back and say, well,
But Hogan did it before Savage did it.
And I know. You really, well, do you remember these things, by the way?
Oh, I do. I totally do.
Remember this? So my mother found this in the attic, and because they used to make noise. That one definitely doesn't make noise anymore. That one's dead, completely dead. So I just wanted to show you that. But Phil, before we let you go, there's something we do here on the show. It's called the finishing move. Now, it's something that we haven't talked about on the show or with you. Any wrestling topic that you want to discuss that maybe we didn't ask you about. So I don't want to. I always use to Alex. I don't want to put you on the spot. But is there something that we didn't discuss maybe with you that you want to talk about that you want to say?
So, just, with everything going on with the pandemic, a lot of events have been canceling out. But it was fortunate enough to be able to do some pre-tape work with a brand new company that's working with a streaming service called IWTV. So IWTV is a streaming service for independent wrestling. You can go to iwtv.live or independentwrestling.tv. And Camp Leapfrog is sort of this campy, wacky, fun, what happens if wrestlers went to a summer camp and then stayed all year. kind of film opportunities. So there's matches and vignettes. So we had an opportunity to do something live a few weeks ago, and then we pre-taped something that's going to debut on Christmas Eve. So lots of fun. Check it out, Camp Leapfrog. You can follow their social media, all of their social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Camp Leapfrog. So make sure you check that out. And otherwise, you can check me out on my social media, which I tagged in my name tag, at PS Phenom on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Snapchat. Basically anything legit. Find me there at PS Phenom.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil, for joining us, man.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
man. We really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
All right, that's Phil Stamper, guys. All right, Alex, before we get going and we're finished and everything like that, we don't have enough time, obviously, to do this stuff, but that's all right. But Phil gave us a great interview,
He did.
So thank you for getting that guest for us, Alex. That was awesome. Do your finishing move, man, because we're at that time already.
Yeah, so my finishing move is this. So if you saw this picture, I'm going to put it up on the screen. The Thunderdome is now at Tropicana Field. Here's the picture of that.
There you go.
Yeah, so they're going to be in that venue. They're going to be in the Tropicana for 3 months until Tampa tells them they have to move, and that till the baseball season starts. But I think the whole idea, I love how they're moving into this new area, and I think it's a smart idea to have them go across from Amway Center to now Tropicana Field, and I think it would for Tampa to allow wrestling to come into their venues. That's a smart move, because not only are they giving WWE money, but they're also giving the WWE's giving money to the venue.
Yeah, for sure. For me, it's a matter of, we didn't get to it, but New Japan has come to the conclusion of their tag team tournament as well as their Super Junior tournament. We saw in Suzuki-gun, El Desperado, he unmasked himself. He did all of that. I thought it was a great tournament. I had a feeling. Who was it that won it in LIJ? What's his name? Alex, what's his name? The one that won it from LIJ, the one that just won it. Hiromu. Hiromu just won the tournament. So for me, I thought that was a big thing. I loved it, and I enjoyed every second of those tournaments. That's it for our show today. I want to thank Phil Stamper for stopping on with us. For sure, we'd love to have him on again. And listen to the fans. Check us out. Download our app, WWSRN if you have an iPhone, Worldwide Sports Radio if you have an Android. What's up, Alex?
Okay, never mind.
Yeah. So we definitely want to check that out for sure. If you haven't downloaded our app yet, please do so. Recheck the show. Do a lot of things. WorldwideSportsRadio.com as well. Check that out. Go on the internet. Our brand new website. It's up and running. It's phenomenal. It's great stuff. And look, check us out. Not just our show, but there's other shows as well. The Ryan Hickey Show, Wise Guys, Below the Mic, Down to the Wire, the BS Sports Show, Belly Up Sports. You have, of course, don't forget the Weekend Crunch with myself and Errol Marks every Saturday at 7 to 9 p.m. on 103.9. For myself, for Alex Lowe's, I want to thank everybody, and hopefully you enjoyed the show. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we will speak to you next week. Take care and enjoy the rest of your week. Have a good weekend, everybody.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.